Okay, it is Christmas week. That is right. When this goes up, we will be like 5 days from Christmas. I know what the hell happened. I'm thinking the same thing to myself too. I'll be 29 by the week. I'm not ready to face that reality, but that's a video for another day. Today, my bio says coffee connoisseur. So I think it's time, as we near the end of the year, for me to put that title to its rightful place and ranking the horrible excuses we have for coffee in this country definitively. And I will do so with the heaviest of hands and the strictest of diligency, from ranking from S to F. There is no D, just straight F. All right. So here are the contestants for what I like to consider the absolute worst gauntlet possible. We have Starbucks. We got Jack in the Box. We got Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf, Pete's Coffee, Drip, Panera, Seattle's Best, McDonald's, Dunkin Donuts, and Dutch Bros. Yes, we're throwing some of the fast food in here because they do have decent coffee. It is decent enough coffee to be warranted on the list. It is in that discussion. But this, my dear friends, is not a list just for hot coffee. It's for iced coffee. There are no fancy fraps here. That'll be a later video. Possibly. I don't know. We'll figure things out as we go. But nevertheless, I will put my coffee connoisseur-ness on the line to definitively tell the uninitiated taste testers of what it is that is good. You're welcome. All right, let's start this show. We're not going to go in any particular order here because if I don't feel like starting off with Starbucks. I have a lot to say about Starbucks. We're not going to start there. We're going to start with what I consider the baseline. We're starting off with Seattle's Best. This you probably got in your local Subway. Let's be real. That is the coffee of Subway. They do have storefronts, but this is strictly based on their drip. And I'm going to be honest with you. It's not good. It's really not. A lot of times when it comes to coffee, I genuinely will tell you, if you want coffee, the best way to drink your coffee is grind it, then use it. That is the best way to enjoy your cup of coffee in the morning. Take the time, grind it, then go. None of this, it's gonna sit. No. You grind it, then you drink it. Okay? First and foremost. Second, every time I've gone into a Subway and seen the coffee, it's not in a percolator. It is in one of those like church things where you hit the button and it goes. I don't know why a fart noise came out, but it like squirts out of it like you hit the button. What I'm saying is it's not good. We're putting that one in F. I'm going to say if I went into their store, it would probably be a lot better. But for this discussion, that hasn't happened. Therefore, it belongs where it belongs, and that is in the F tier. Like I said, there is no D tier. It's just average or it's not. There is no D. There is no slightly below average. I don't play that game with coffee. Neither should you. Okay, moving on. We'll slightly go up. This will be the most controversial one. It is Jack in the Box. Here's the thing with Jack in the Box. I'm going to be upfront with you. Jack in the Box iced coffee, if it was strictly iced coffee, would be up here. The iced coffee alone is S tier alone. You can fight me on that all you want. Go get yourself any sort of iced coffee from Jack in the Box and tell me not it's amazing. Now, when it comes to their regular coffee and coffee as a whole, I think there's a lot to be desired. Similar things I have with this. When coffee is left into a thing where you hit a handle like at the dealership while you're waiting for your car, you lose points. Absolutely, this comes into account for Jack in the Box. However, their iced coffee saves them to a C tier. Their iced coffee will gladly take them out of this disgusting filth that belongs to Seattle's Best. Their iced coffee is actually really amazing. When it comes to iced coffee, I think it's really good. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they over sugarify it, so it just tastes sweeter than any coffee needs to be, but it is really, really good. And if you are in a pinch and the only thing first you have coffee-wise is Jack in the Box, you're not going to piss off this coffee connoisseur. All right, moving on down the list. We will continue with the restaurant-based coffees and jump into where I used to work, Panera. When it comes to Panera coffee, I think their coffee is actually not bad. Compared to some other ones, it's really, really not horrible. When it comes to like coffee, and I would throw this same thing with like Corner Bakery, for instance. When it comes to coffee, the biggest thing for coffee for me is how it is stored. Now, yes, we can make the argument that my rule of it being in a percolator, not in a strict percolator, would definitely bring it down, but it's not in one of those pushy button things. It's actually in an actual like coffee filter. It's just moved over for storage purposes. So in terms of that, yes, technically I should dock it a full point for it, but I digress. It's not one of those stupid little pushy things where, it sounds like a fart coming out. Based on strict coffee alone, it is not bad. It is actually, I think, really, really decent. They have flavored coffee. I'm not really the biggest fan of flavored coffee in the world. Their hazelnut flavored coffee is not bad at all. Their dark roast, I really do enjoy. I drink it all the time when I work there. Their light roast isn't okay, but those are really the biggest ones. Then there was a decaf, but that's a crime against humanity. So we don't talk about it. But when it comes to Panera coffee, I will say it's probably a B. There are some things to be desired, but I think a lot of it just comes down to when it comes to your standard variety of light darks, it's going to be better than most of the things you're going to find. Kind of like like Jack in the Box, for instance. Just putting that out there. All right, similar to this little shindig here is McDonald's coffee. When it comes to McDonald's coffee, their regular coffee is very much C tier. Iced coffee, similar to Jack in the Box, I would probably put it A tier. Now, when it comes to the combined, where does it all kind of even out? Well, I think the regular coffee has a lot to be desired. That they got sued for not saying it was hot because it was actually below the point of boiling. So when you say you want your hot coffee, well, the old Ronald McDonald definitely delivers his hot coffee to you. So hot, in fact, that it might give you third-degree burns. Oh boy, oh boy. Now, looking at it from the standpoint of a connoisseur like myself, I will say this. It's not better than Jack in the Box. It's B tier. Like I said, when it comes to looking at it as a whole, McDonald's coffee isn't grand. It's not great. But ultimately, on a whole, I would gladly take McDonald's coffee over Jack in the Box coffee. I'm sorry if that hurt somebody. I mean nothing wrong when I say it. I just do think McDonald's is better than Jack in the Box. Moving on. This is going to be our transition to actual kind of coffee shop things. So we're going to start with good old Dunkin Donuts. I hate Dunkin Donuts. I don't know how often I can state this. I do not like them. Their coffee is always naturally rated really, really high. I don't understand it. They switched from Dunkin Donuts to whatever Dunkin because God forbid they don't want to be known for the one thing they're known for, and that's donuts. Dunkin, I don't understand you. I never want to understand you. You advertise your blended drinks on my television set, and I've never once said, you know where I want to go for my coffee? You want to know where I want to go for my coffee, friends? Dunkin Donuts. I've never once said it. I don't understand it. I never will understand it. Therefore, you hang out down here in F tier. I'm not saying the coffee's bad. I just think it's a sham. The entire thing is a sham. Everyone says they're so great. I mean, look at this picture I chose for them. It's got the hot coffee, the iced coffee, the vanilla caramel macchiato. I set them up, but alas, they belong where they belong. Let's talk about drip. Now we're switching over to specialty coffee shops the rest of the way. These last five are strictly more coffees. I know technically Seattle's best is as well in this category, but like I said, I've only seen them in a Starbucks, so take it up in the comments. Now, when it comes to ye old Drip. I have had my issues with Drip. I think they're way overpriced. I think they're hipsters. I cheered when they got booted from my local shopping strip mall to what it is now, a better coffee shop. I think Drip is strictly C tier. It is what I like to call the starting place for actual good coffee. It is where you go on that awkward date when you're in high school or college because you have nowhere else to go and you don't want to be seen at the local Starbucks. It is the introductory class to actual coffee, and it will belong in the C tier where it shall rot for all eternity. Let's go with Starbucks. I have my issues with Starbucks. I think they're actual trash. I have stated on many times that when it comes to drip coffee from Starbucks, I'd rather drink hot mud. Their drip coffee has been absolutely horrendous for at least near however long they've been around. Pike's Place is absolutely horrendous. That stuff they brew in store, awful. They're not even known for coffee. They're known for espresso drinks. The drink you see here, this delicious peppermint mocha, is straight espresso. 90% of their drinks are actually not coffee, but a shot of espresso that's made to look like a milkshake. This is what the standard white girl drinks, and because of that, it belongs in the pooper. Their only good brand of coffee or bean they make is Sumatra, and even that's remarkably awful. It's not really good, and your lack of variety, but delicious, cheap refills. You go where you can go there. Moving on to Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf. I've had many a meeting at Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf, and let me tell you, it's not bad. At least like Starbucks, they don't lie and have every drink on the menu not be a coffee drink, but an espresso. And I know coffee's espresso, but that's not beside the point. When it comes to Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf, I think they're actually decent. I won't go out of my way to find a Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf, but I will say it is better than Starbucks 5 leaves and bounds. I think they're A tier. I know. I put Starbucks in F. When it comes... Here's my grading criteria when it actually comes to coffee. I like variety. Panera was a B? Why? Because they had variety. Coffee Bean has variety. They have like three different options of drip coffee available. Yes, I can make the argument that drip has the same thing via pour over method. But when it comes to like actual coffee, the reason why I despise drip is drip compared to like Coffee Bean. Prime example. The largest drink, a Coffee Bean of drip coffee, will be way less than drip. And I know, it's V60. Of course it's going to cost more, you dingus. You're a coffee connoisseur. You know this. Yes, I do know that. But when it comes to the coffee consumption, yes, we can make the argument all day that drip will have a better bean than Coffee Bean. But when ultimately we're looking at it on a broad spectrum, if I were to tell you, hey, you have a different choice between a Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf or a drip, I would say go to Coffee Bean. A little easier to understand, and you're probably getting in and out faster, and it's not an introduction to hipster courses at your old coffee shop. Thank you. Pete's Coffee. I drink Pete's Coffee all the damn time. That's my home brewed coffee, is generally Pete's Major Dixon blend. It's delicious. It's delicious. I want to put an S tier, but that's reserved for someone special. It's pretty damn close. It's A tier. It's really, really good. You can pick, like I said, the best way to brew it is honestly beans fresh, grind it, and go. That is the best way to do it. But it's damn good coffee, and it's gonna stay in A tier. Their drip coffee is amazing. I haven't had a bad cup of drip ever. Drip, peace. Last but not least, Dutch Bros. They just opened up one nearby recently, and your life will forever be changed if you've never had it. It's not moving S tier, it's S tier. It's the only S tier coffee on this list. Why? It's Dutch Bros. It's amazing. It's amazing. Go hang out in their drive-thru line. Go get yourself a delicious coffee. They have drinks out the wazoo, but their standard coffee's amazing. It's great. It's the only one. I mean, realistically, I could put Coffee Bean or something else up there too. But it's amazing, delicious coffee. And I can't brag about it enough. It's so good. It's good. I mean, the syrup's on the bottom in this picture, but we don't talk about that. It's the best coffee Well, when it comes to like coffee shops, there's a couple more I put in S tier, but for this one, because we're looking at a broad nationwide. If we wanted to talk local coffee shops, we'd be here all day, because the 50, I was looking online for 50 coffee shops. There's too many. But that's where we're going to leave this. Let's just review. The only S tier is Dutch Bros, followed by A tier, Pete's, and Coffee Bean Tea Leaf. And then we got Panera Coffee and McDonald's and McCafe, followed by Jack in the Box and Drip. And then the lows, depths of hell, we got Seattle's Best, Dunkin, and Starbucks. So, that was today's video. The Coffee Connoisseur has spoken. His word is final. Like all things, he speaks it with the vigor and determination to give you the best cup of coffee ever. If you disagree with me, let me know down below. I will tell you you're wrong. Like, I'm not going to say you're wrong. I know some honorable mentions would be like Tim Hortons and others, but I live on the West Coast, so I don't have a Tim Hortons. And I've heard weird things about Tim Hortons. This is what we got. Definitive. The Coffee Connoisseur has spoken. And that's where we're going to leave that. Just have a good one. We'll see you around as Christmas break and week continues. See you all next time.